Right now, I want you to think of the most selfless person you know. I want you to really imagine how they think, what they do, and think, dang, how are they always just so selfless and caring for others and just the complete opposite of what selfishness is? Now, I want you to know that every selfless act is, in fact, a selfish one. As hard as that is to hear, and you're like, what is this guy saying? He does not know a single thing of what he's talking about. But before we get into that, I'm QuackerYaps. If you guys have something you would like to be discussed by just your average Joe, argue either topic, as I always do, please just drop it down in the comments. I'd love to hear your thoughts. But back to it. Have you ever, say, you see a homeless person on the street? They want money or food or something like that, and you give them like $20, right? You think to yourself, dang, that felt really good. I like doing that. So you continue to do that. And people looking on the outside, they're like, wow, this person is so selfless. They're giving their money away. They may even be struggling, but they're giving their money away because they're being helpful, which they are. They are greatly benefiting that person's life. But what they don't talk about is how those people who do that, they get a really good feeling inside of them. It makes them feel good. And so then comes the point, well, are they doing this because they care about the well-being of others and they want to help them and disregard their feelings? Or are they doing it because they're doing because they're doing a good thing that also makes them feel good and also makes them feel better about themselves? And that's what you really have to think about, because it's something that not a lot of people think about. And this could be applied in so many different areas. And it's just not something that people think about. And I want you to think about yourself. Would you say you're a selfish person? A selfless person? Well, really, everyone is selfish. And that's not a bad thing either. Because no matter who you are, like your ancestors and people who lived way before you, they survived because they were selfish. And that's not a bad thing. People think being selfish is a bad thing because they don't want to help others. But you could also argue that, they're more selfless, being a selfish person, than a selfless person pretending that they're the best and they're the greatest and they're the most helpful and thoughtful person that they know, which just isn't true. Well, yes, they're both, like, you could argue that the things that they do are different. Could also argue that they're benefiting themselves, just like someone who's doing to charity would be. Like, yes, they're doing a good cause, but are they doing it for the cause or are they doing it for themselves? And one thing I see a lot of is people being sort of bashed on because, oh, they're so selfish, they don't care about others, they don't think about others, they just don't care about them. But in reality, that is just the complete opposite. And the lack of real depth in this topic is really something that, I don't want to say bothers me, but something I would like to hear more be talked about, because not everyone's going to be so selfish or selfless, because they're just not going to be. They're not going to be seen as that. They're not going to be heard as that. And people mistake that for being a bad person, which you're not a bad person for doing that. And next time you see someone that you just would see as the goal definition of selfless, I want you to really think, are they doing this for themselves? Doing it for the better of other people? Or are they using the betterment of other people's lives as a cover-up to make themselves feel better? Now, I'm also not saying that being selfless is bad either. It's a good thing that they're helping these other people. But ultimately, they're still getting a lot of good out of that. Like, a lot of the times you see questions about, like, oh, there's 5 people about to be hit by a train. You can flip the lever, then one person will die. Some people say, oh, well, we would flip the lever so only one person dies. And so more people get to live. But honestly, if we really think about that, if you flip that lever, you killed someone. You caused that. Or another one, it's another one. It's like the red button or the blue button. It's like you get $1,000,000, but you don't. But somebody dies for that. And the blue one, I believe, oh gosh, I can't remember. But a lot of people are, especially socially, people want to claim that they're selfless in social activities. They're saying, oh, I want to I want to do this for that because that's wrong and I'm such a good person. But it's like, no, you're not. You want the validation of other people. You don't want that. You don't want good for other people. You just want to be seen in a good light, which for some people will make other people think more highly of them, which is one of the reasons why being selfless can be a bad thing, because some people are using it for bad. I don't want to stereotype everyone like that, but it's a truth that is quite often just overlooked and overthought. Not even overthought, they don't even think about that. But a lot of people can use that sort of selfless social boost to like better whatever they're trying to do. Some people manipulate others to get what they want, and the way they do that, say, oh, they're such a good person, they would never do this, which in turn makes it to where you're more likely to be manipulated by these people without even expecting it, because why would somebody of such good nature do that? And one thing about that as well is some of these selfless people on the outside can seem like just the greatest people ever that you'll ever meet. But deep down, you could argue that they're just terrible, terrible people. And that's a side of them that not a lot of people will see. But the ones who do see that sort of like evil side of them, if someone were to speak out upon that, then no one will believe them because they have such a social guard because, oh, they're such a good person. But no, they're not. They're using that as a cover-up so they can't be perceived as someone evil or someone who would do harm, which I believe greatly hurts people. And it's something that's sad to see, but and you could also, and people also argue that, well, they're still doing good and the bad can't be that bad, but some of these people seem like just the greatest people that you'll ever meet. Like maybe a pastor, maybe a school teacher, maybe they donate to their local charity. Like behind closed doors, they could be most ruthless, most ignorant, most disgusting people you will ever meet. And you will most likely never know that. And I just wish more people thought about that side and questioned why they're doing that. Because some people do it for a good feeling in themselves. Some people do it as a guard for other ideas, other motives. And that's one thing that personally, in my opinion, I believe should be talked about and more thought through. Because people don't think about the other sides of quote unquote good things. And I wish, honestly, there was just more awareness for it. But as always, drop your thoughts down below. If you like what I'm talking about, drop a like, maybe subscribe. But, just give it another thought, and hope you guys have a great rest of your day.